Welcome to the Blow Mold Hospital. Today I'm going to show you something that I just got recently. It's a very cool tombstone for Halloween with skeleton and rats, and this is one of my first really cool. I've got lots of ghosts and pumpkins and things, but this is one of my first cool tombstone blow molds made in Canada. Problem I have with this one, so as you can see down here, it looks like somebody has set like a rusty paint can or something like that. So I'm going to try to go through some steps to see if I can clean that off of there and make it look decent again. Maybe as simple as just soap and water, or it may be a little more complicated where I have to do some other things. More in a bit, but join me as I clean this thing up. Alright, the first thing I'm going to try, just a little Dawn dish soap and just a wet paper towel. See if that allows it to come off. Alright, got a little bit off, but really not moving the needle on that, so I'm going to go up to a magic eraser. Let me grab that, be right back. Alright, so I cut a piece off. I'd never like to use the whole sponge because I don't want to ruin a whole sponge for such a small job. Cut a small piece of magic eraser to see what it does. Trying to go with the grain. It's really hard to see, but the grain of the blow mold kind of goes this way. So I'm trying to keep it with that so I don't scratch up the coating on the outside too much. I don't want it to start collecting dirt on its own with these little tiny scratches I'm putting in here. But this looks like it's doing much better. Not getting it all yet, but let me just keep putting some elbow grease into it. And I'm going to try a few circle motions here. See if I can get it moving a little bit more down here in this part. While I had the Dawn on it as well, I cleaned up some of this dirt down in here and things, so was able to still use the Dawn for some good cleaning. All right, I've got a little bit left, as you can see right here, and there's a little bit there. Rather than you just watch me scrub for 5 or 10 more minutes, I'll pause, clean this up, see if I can get the rest of it. And if I can, good, I'll tell you what my next steps will be, but if I can't, I'll move on to the next step. Right, so I've been scrubbing for a good bit, and as you can see in the water there, I need that water, so I'll try to show you close. There's just a little bit left that I can't get the magic eraser to remove. So what I'm going to try, I just finished polishing my headlights. And believe it or not, I'm going to try some sandpaper. But this is 2000 grit. Removes light scratches and clear coat, polish light texture and clear coat. So this is not your normal sandpaper, what you would think sandpaper is. It's extremely smooth and it has just a little bit of grit to it, very fine, but it's actually used to polish headlights, to polish clear coat. So I'm going to see if those little marks there will come out. I'm not putting much pressure at all. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm getting that surface scuffed up enough to where I can get that dirt off or that rust. It may not work, but I want to see what it'll do. Definitely not putting enough pressure to do any damage to it. Just very, very lightly back and forth. We'll try a little circular motion since the back and forth isn't doing too well. And again, this is good stuff. I've used it. I did another video where I didn't show what, but I did Chris Fix's video on how to do your resurfacing your headlights, and I used this sandpaper. This is wet or dry. I definitely find that for things like this, the wet is better. It just gives you a little bit more kind of lubrication as you're going over the surface to allow you to just keep it smoother and not have to worry about digging in so deep. Alright, as with the magic eraser, I'll pause now so I can work on this a little bit so you don't have to watch me. Alright, after scrubbing a good bit with the 2000 grit, I actually am at a place right now where I feel like I can stop. You can still see the ring just slightly, but to be honest, I'm okay with that. I think I can live with it. So, if it was still there and it was a little bit darker, I may still try to do some more 2000 grit over it just to see how it does, see if I can get that last little bit off. But for the most part, like I said, I'm good. I would go to a 600 grit sandpaper. Same sandpaper that is made from 3M, but 600 grit, a little bit more aggressive, so you have to be extremely careful with it. But just to start taking off a little bit extra of that layer there. But I'm good. The other piece that I may do is put on like a matte polyurethane spray coating that's UV protective. Since I've taken off a little bit of this, it's very light. I mean, honestly, you can see from the dry sandpaper here that it's not a ton, it's just powder. But I have taken off a little bit there, and just general protection for the blow mold. I may cover it in a matte polyurethane that prevents yellowing and has a UV protectant in it, just to give this thing a coating back on it again and protect it in the sun. But overall, I think I'm pretty happy with this. I was really glad to get this blow mold, and I think it's going to work well and give me years of service. So I appreciate it, and thanks again for visiting the Blow Mold Hospital.